And at this point, you know, this may be his only chance of even getting back to the dam. And it so after they leave the dam and head towards Salt Lake to go find the Fireflies, pretty much Joe just kind of started to tell Ellie about his past, because he really doesn't like to talk about the past, which is kind of rare. But it's just kind of like a point of Joe wanting to be honest with Ellie and stop lying. So he just tells her everything, you know, how Sarah dies and what he's been doing in detail for the past 20 years. He's kind of had highlights throughout the first game, but he's really going into detail this time. So I'm not going to quite say any more because, hey, maybe if I'm lucky, Naughty Dog even would call me and say, hey, I like this video and your story. How about you come on board? But, you know, that's just wishful thinking and all. And honestly, I could spend a very long time even talking about it anyway. So moving on, after you pretty much just got the gist of what my idea for the Last of Us 2 story is going to be, I would now like to go into AI behavior and overall what I want to see in the next game to kind of make things different. Now, one thing I'd like to see would be more infected out there. If you remember in the part in suburbs where those stray dogs are kind of playing around, Joe said, you know, stay away from those. Obviously, it's just the fact that, you know, they're wild animals, they could attack you, but I'd kind of like to see there being infected animals. In fact, if you actually looked at some of the concepts for The Last of Us, you'll see that they're like infected giraffes or horses, some sort of animal. So, you know, that'd be one thing they could do. Another thing I was kind of thinking of is like maybe make different variants of affected out there. Like there could be runners that behave just the way they did in the first game, and then there could be like runners that are kind of like clickers, like they're blind but at the same time they're still fast and agile. You know, when they hear you, they'll really race over towards you and like attack where they heard the sound. So there'll be like a lot more of a threat than the clickers, which kind of move a lot slower. They speed up a little bit when they see you and like kind of start swinging their arms, but these guys are gonna be like sprinting towards you, sort of like the infected you've seen in like the earlier trailers that were like really just kind of like fast. And even if you've seen like the part where Bill, Ellie, and Joel got into the high school, that infected that grabbed him as they're going to the window, that one was like really sprinting at him. So I'd like to see infected like that. You know, and then you could even find out from Joe later on, you know, like I said, he'll be explaining the past and all this. So when you see these enemies, it'll make sense as he didn't know about them now. Well, he didn't know about them then, but he knows about them now. And he'll kind of, just in case like the Naughty Dog did use some of the newer infected in the Origins, you know, the 20-year gap, it could kind of be explained away like, oh, we were just lucky that we didn't see any of them. For all we know, all those times you ran from them, there could have been one of these infected back there, but, you know, we just got away from them. So, there could also be, like, other infected that kind of, like, more armored from the spores, like the bloaters are. So they could do that. In addition to there being, like, military infected that, you know, are infected and already have bulletproof vests on. So just like more variants and enemy types and all, just to kind of freshen things up. Now I'm sure as you're seeing in the clip right now, these hunters, what I did in this part here, I shot all the hunters that had guns and just left these two guys with the 2x4s. And as you can see, you know, they're not as stupid as most enemies that just have melee weapons and just like sprint at you and try to beat you up. I'm not sure if this is because, you know, they don't have any more guns covering them or what, but that's something I'd like to see, you know, enemies being a lot more smarter like they were in the E3 demo. Like, Naughty Dog claims that they didn't do anything to the AI compared to the demo, but, you know, obviously they did. Like, they don't act anything like how they did. So, with the next game obviously being on a PS4, if not the PS5, you know, depending on how long it takes to make this game, the hardware of the PS4 should be more than good enough to handle this intricate AI now and all these different enemy types, God willing. So I'd really like to see a lot of the changes that Ben Mick25 mentioned in his video, such as, you know, different enemies that behave differently depending on the circumstances and etc. So with these two guys, I'm thinking it'd be something on the lines of, you know, they're good buddies, they're pals, you know, they're well communicated, so you'll hear them throughout the video yelling, "Flank him, go around, he's back there," you know. They're really communicating with each other, and they have good chemistry, so, you know, they're a tough pair to go up against. So I like to see more of that. And there's already pretty much a lot of different enemy types. Like, you know, there's the guys that run around different type of guns. There'll be the Molotov guys that like throw Molotovs at you and try to flush you out of cover and etc. You know, at some points during the game you'll even get smoke bombs thrown at you, like you seen earlier at the dam at the beginning of the engagement. They threw smoke bombs and got that guy. So there'll be that. There could be a medic, like he'll go around patches guys up after they've been shot. And one of the things Ben said is, like, depending on where they get hit, like say if you shot a guy in the chest or the stomach, you know, he'll start to slowly bleed out over time, or he'll like get blown up by a bomb. You know, he won't directly get blown up by the bomb, just be torn up, but he'll just get like a leg blown off, so he's like screaming for help. You know, the medic can maybe patch him up a little, and he'll sit in that one spot, just like shoot you or whatever, and call out to his friends, "He's over here." And then, like, as you seen when I shot his buddy over the counter, this guy is just like going crazy. He's like just running around trying to beat me up. He doesn't even have his 2x4 anymore, but he doesn't care. I have a gun in my hand. I could shoot him and kill him right now, but he doesn't care. So I'm thinking it could be like certain enemies that have a relationship with each other, and so once that person dies, you know, they'll just lose their minds. And like, it'd be even cool if they called out names or something. So he'll go, "Bobby, you son of a bitch, you killed my brother." You know, he'll just start running after you. And if you remember from the video where when I shot his buddy, he started to struggle out of the grab. Obviously that's just because I was holding him for a while, but I'm thinking it'd be something like, after you kill someone with a certain relationship, you know, they'll get really pissed off, and they're just like, they'll really start to struggle out the grab, you know. And it'll just be those type of things that kind of make it so, like, he just seems like he's just like reckless and crazy because his buddy died. So it's like their behaviors are changed like that. There'll also be other people that are more courageous and brave, and they'll just attack you and not give a shit if you have a gun or not. You know, they just believe that one hit's all they need to take you out, you know, and it's worth the risk. Or there could be like more cowardice type of people that are just like, you know, hide behind cover, or after a certain amount of people die, they start to run away, you know. Like, I can keep going on to detail with these, but like I said, check out Ben's video for this stuff. As you see now, I'm gonna kind of try to go into the multiplayer stuff here, but a lot of the clips they have for factions, you know, or during the loading screens, they're just stuff advertising the DLC, or it's just telling you how to play, like, oh, hold L2 and R2 to throw a Molotov. When aiming, press R1 to switch, or right here, press R3 to mark enemies. Those should be the tips that you have for when you're a beginner, but these tips you're seeing now, these more intricate ones, revive safely, those should be the ones that should be played when at all times, really, because these are strategical ones. Check behind you frequently for enemies. Like, this is stuff that could help you later on, you know, not just when you're a beginner. So those should be stuff that should always be there, and all this other stuff should just kind of like fall back after a certain level. And as you see here, you know, this is actually a glitch, but I thought it'd be pretty cool if there were a group special execution. So that'd be another cool thing that I'd love to see in the game, you know. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video, and I have plenty more videos on my channel.